Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 798 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Tacomalda, and I am joined today by none other than Chris DeBona.
Hi.
Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
I saw your lens, Chris. Is that a tilt shift?
Yeah, I picked up one of the TT Artisan tilt shift lenses.
I've always wanted one of those.
You know, I'm going to be doing a big drive across the country, so I'm going to do it all in miniature.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I really would like it if the country looked really tiny.
Tiny.
So itty bitty. Let's see. Well, the first thing you've already got up on the screen is voice actors for a slew of video games, Elder Scroll, Oblivion,
A cornucopia.
A veritable plethora.
An assortment.
Yes, of actors. This one was interesting because they're angry. They're fairly angry about the use of AI voice acting. Now, what makes this a difficult wrinkle for me, at least, is that this is about fan mods. So if you mod a game and you want to have a consistent voice show up, this for me is a little different than, at least conceptually, than, you know, if CD Projekt Red wants to clone a voice for Cyberpunk 2078. That's a little different to me than I want to make a mod where you go hunt something else in The Witcher, and I want to use the voices, the same voices, and I like this is a weird one for me. They have a fair complaint, of course.
They do. It's against Nexus mods. And so what they want is Bethesda to exercise its rights over their voices as licensed under those games against Nexus mods.
It's a subtle problem because obviously they deserve to be compensated, but this is for fan creations. And you know what? On a lot of levels, this is the same argument that a lot of game creators have when people start modding their games. If you don't have like an API and a mechanism to mod your games and people start hacking your games, that starts becoming a lawsuit sort of thing too. The only difference is, like in this case, you know, like stealing level data and textures robs from one group of artists. And in this case, you're stealing from a different group of artists. It's tricksy.
It really is, because on one side I'm like, you know, when you know how sometimes you hear Jeff Bates's voice in the wind?
I hear him. I'm hearing him right now in my left ear.
Oh, really? Is he there?
Well, I only keep you guys in the right ear, and I keep him in the left ear. You know, like it's like
he's always talking.
It's like an angel demon thing.
Oh, I see. It's he's your god.
I was thinking devil, but
well, yeah. All right. Yeah, no, but I was just thinking like Jeff's voice is both perfect for video games and absurdly generic. Like I'll watch there's a comedian, big guy, too many kids, lives in New York.
Yeah, that guy.
Jim Gaffigan.
Steve.
Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, yeah.
And if you close your eyes on the right day and the right joke, and I'm like, Jeff Bates could be doing this. You know, he could be making that joke, because every once in a while Jeff's voice goes full cinematic and sounds like Jim Gaffigan. And I'm like, so we get back to this idea. Okay, I have a lot of sympathy. Clearly, people sampled their voices and replicated them using some of the awesome vocoders that are out there. At the same time, people aren't that unique. Their acting ability is unique. The characters they've created are unique. But when do you switch from sampling to it's a new work? And people aren't that distinctive.
And
where's as a whole?
I've always struggled with this. So in music, if you're gonna like clear a sample, like clearing samples is really complicated, right?
Is it, Rob?
And
yeah.
So okay, if you're Kanye and you want to have 3 seconds of a sample from a song in the 70s and they want to charge you a small fortune, there's a whole cottage industry of people who will just record for you
Oh, yeah,
That
yeah,
3 seconds, like you just need a measure of a song, they'll
and then you
do a
pay a
mock of
little bit.
it, and then you pay them for the production of it, and you
I
don't have to
mean,
pay for the original sample.
also a small industry based on giving you a virtual fax machine, since all of that licensing is still done via fax machine somehow, right? So
Somehow. Somehow.
yeah.
But if that's okay, and like that is a different set of licensing, I don't know. This stuff is just complicated. And then also there's been cases where people who do voice acting and they do too good of an impression, and then they get sued because their impression of somebody is so good that the original actor is all like, well, people are going to confuse you, and they're going to think I'm endorsing your product, things like that. This is weird stuff, man, and I don't know what the line is between this. I guess we'll never really know. It's just whoever has the most money is going to win the lawsuit, and then until somebody with more money comes along to sue the next one.
Well, I mean, there's gonna be some really interesting lawsuits for sure, especially around the generative AIs and all the
Yeah.
rest, in the style of, in fact, there was a lawsuit, I don't know if we linked to it. Sarah Silverman decided to
Yeah.
sue half a dozen
ChatGPT.
folks over, I guess, some of her recent comedy special. Like,
I thought
some of it
I
went into
the article that I read was angry that they were summarizing her book without providing the copyright information, which
so
seemed,
basically a Cliff Notes lawsuit.
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah. But I mean, I just read that article really briefly. There might have been more to it than that. But that to me seems like fair use, I guess, depending on, if you cliff notes 100, well, that's the thing, right? If you cliff notes a 200-page book into a 100-page book, that's probably a pretty clear violation. If you condense it down to 2 paragraphs, it's obviously not. What's the line?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's transformative work, right? I mean, this is the question. This came up in the Perfect 10 lawsuits against what's the name? Google. And where
Google.
Perfect 10, a pornography site, had sued Google, Google
Google.
for their thumbnails in image search. And they lost because it was found to be a transformative work that was within the realms of fair use. And I think that it comes down to the meat of this. So in Silverman's thing, she said, "Okay, summarize the bedwetter." It does it. Is that a transformative work? Does it quote too many without giving attribution? Is it violating the MLA standards for giving attributions or
And I
whatever?
think that was her
Yeah.
her general argument. But again, that's the thing, right? If you take a 200-page book, and tell ChatGPT to rewrite this and make it 175 pages long, that's probably going to be a pretty clear violation. 1 page, no, that's totally a transformative work. What's the line between reducing it by 1 page or 199 pages? That's How do you codify that? How do
Yeah,
you
like
make
I'm reading this
rules?
and I'm reading a high school level summary of her book. And maybe she doesn't like that, but is she going to go after every high school student in the world who reads her book and summarizes it for their class, which would never actually happen because no teacher in their right mind is going to ask them to read a Sarah Silverman book unless they want weirdo protesters outside their house. But still, you know, I'm reading this exhibit, and here I'll put it up on screen. Oh, I did, and you know, I'm confused as to what's the problem here.
Well,
You know?
this is what all of these things are going to be about, right? They're going to be about little tiny
Yep,
subtle bits of nuance, and
I
whoever
own
has the most
culture.
whoever has the
You
most
don't get
money
to.
is going to ultimately win.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
sad.
Well,
Uh
I don't know that that's true. I think there is a minimum bar of how much money people have to even take part in these lawsuits, which
well,
is
sure, that
itself
means that they'll
a problem.
lose. So that means they'll lose. That's
No, no,
it's
no. It
it's
doesn't mean
like
that they'll lose. It means that there are cases that will never be brought because either people can't afford to defend them or people can't afford to prosecute them. And
right,
then
but
or all
the
the way to where they need to go, which is probably the Supreme Court.
but there's been all those
Unfortunately.
stories about like people who are basically trying to claim ownership over like 2 measures of music or 2 measures of
Yeah, there are
songs.
people who are overreaching their jerks.
Right, but when they're rich, they win.
Well, they
Uh,
don't though, Rob. This is the
I
thing.
I've
That
seen an
often
awful lot of cases that I disagree with, but I'm not a judge.
people will settle. But if you're willing to take it to court, you actually don't lose that often. People who are bringing these cases often they know what they're doing. They're trying to intimidate you with money.
Sure.
And if you just push back a little bit, that'll cost them more. They'll go away. and then try it with some other sucker. And that's a problem too. You saw this, Cory Doctorow broke down the Pixie scam, Pixsy, which Rob Roseman might remember. They would go after people who use Creative Commons images, saying they hadn't complied, or hadn't complied within the grace period inherent in the license, and they would keep on hassling, keep on hassling. I probably replied to Pixie over the image in that one blog post, Rob, 6 times, 7 times. And they're like, "Well, you have to. Why don't you respect the rights?" Da, da, da. I was like, "I think I understand the Creative Commons licenses." "No, you don't. No, you don't." I'm like, "Okay, well, I guess you're gonna have to sue me then." "Well, we're gonna sue you." I'm like, "Oh, okay, please, please do. We're gonna sue you. We're suing you right now. We're suing you right now." It's like, "Are you? Are you? Huh? Here, come on, come on." And they didn't. And then Corey, they tried to pull the same crap with Cory Doctorow, and boy, he rolled them both in person and in public.
Well, it's nice when you have a platform like he does to really shame people for being gross.
Yeah.
All right. We've got did the Taliban endorse Twitter?
Well, why wouldn't they? They love Twitter. I mean, it's one of their hangouts, dude.
They can hang out with their buddy Elno.
Come on.
Twitter doesn't censor their
Shit
speech
anymore.
Yeah.
Well, good for them.
I mean, if they listen, the Taliban has a need for a public square to cut people's heads off and put it online. So,
Ouch.
well, I'm just telling you, it's like Twitter, is that place for them clearly. So
isn't it? God, this story just continues to get weirder and weirder and weirder. Like, because Twitter was always the Wild West, relative to like Facebook and Reddit, but it was. It's getting wilder and westerer. We actually have a couple more Elno related fun stories that are on the list. The plane tracker that got banned is now on Threads.
Is he going to Afghanistan? He's going to hang with his buds in the Taliban?
I think it's he can go to Saudi. He can just go straight to Saudi Arabia.
Well, I think Saudi is on the board through the sovereign fund.
Yeah.
They owned a big hunk of Twitter. I don't know how that
they own a chunk of Reddit too, right?
Yeah. No, they're present in a lot of funds too. Saudi participation in Twitter buyout, because they had owned a fair amount of it and they were an early backer. Kingdom Holding, there you go. Okay. Yeah, they just rolled their existing $2 billion into the new company.
Good for them. The word is also that Threads now is over 100 million accounts. Whether or not that is real or not, I've seen charts that show Twitter traffic down demonstrably in the last couple of weeks. Whether or not you believe that or not.
Here's the Tesla parking lot Instagram, which I've always found to be very funny because it has very few
actual Teslas.
It's the people who work there who can't afford.
Or people who can park, evidently.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow, look at this.
You guys got a boot?
Hang on, let me log in. Boop.
CJ DeBona, eh? Remember to follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, like and subscribe and shit. Fuck off. Stop with your journeys and user flows.
More pop-ups.
This is so
good. Are you going to get a subscription offer?
I hope so.
Isn't it great how good the internet got?
It's a little.
What you mean? Once we sold it? Yeah.
Yeah. Once we ruined it.
I like this. It comes with an extra door in the front.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I've heard of like having a third row back seat or whatever. I guess maybe you need a front of hood extra door.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was the other one was the craziest one, I thought, and I actually titled the episode "Zuck is what now?"
What now?
Because Elno called Zuck. He posted Zuck is cuck on Twitter.
Yeah, it was.
Was that real?
So weird. Yeah, it was real. That's the weird ass place that we live now, where that's not just someone faking something up. Yeah, first of all, he launched that lawsuit saying that there was predatory hiring going on.
Well, he didn't launch a lawsuit. He wrote a threatening
Well,
letter.
he wrote a letter, and Zuck's like, I have lawyers, right?
Right. Elno used to, but he hasn't paid them in a while. So.
Wow, I mean that's a very funny thing,
Not for those poor lawyers. Won't somebody please think of the lawyers?
Well, yeah.
You just better not ruin Starlink. I finally have good internet. I've had it for like 3 weeks and I'm not going back, guys. I'm not going back.
Can't make you.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. It's like, we've talked about this before. It's like, why would anyone take a reputation like his and dash it on the rocks for Twitter?
Yeah, for
Twitter.
This is such an unforced error. Like it boggles my mind. Just go step away.
The only thing that I can think of is that, and this is giving credit where credit maybe isn't due, but the only thing I can think of is if you look at Trump, he has proven something, which is the farther you go, you get more passion the farther you go. Whether it's right or wrong, the farther you go down that path, you get the people, your followers will double down and double down and double down. And Elno's followers keep doubling down. They keep going with him. Where's that line? Yeah. I mean, that's just like, that's the kind of things that we would say as a joke amongst ourselves, hanging out around a campfire. That's not the things that a CEO says in a public forum to strangers over the internet.
Historically, when a CEO goes this nuts in public, the next headline is they kill themselves, or they do have such a bad trip that they fall off a cliff. It's this is late stage Elon, in my opinion.
Oh, you think this is
they're
like mental
they're gonna
illness?
find him. Oh yeah. I think they're gonna find him in a shed with a bunch of propane canisters and dead.
Wow.
Like Tony Hsieh. This guy he's so unhinged, and he's clearly been doing some remarkably high quality drugs.
The special super drugs that only he can afford. Only he used to be able to afford.
Right? Like, you guys have LSD. His S has like a dollar sign. And,
yeah. He has LSD too.
Yeah. Fenty Nil, which is he does it by buying the company Fenty from Rihanna and creating that one drug. It takes a year and a half, and then you take it and you die.
Man, all this.
I think this guy's on the way out.
All this making fun of a billionaire is making me really thirsty. If only somebody could, help me know exactly what kind of water I'm drinking. Perhaps some sort of water sommelier.
Is there a water sommelier?
Yeah, we got a story about a water sommelier.
Okay.
This made me giggle.
It just reminds. I want
What's
this.
the Walt Disney World thrill feel like?
Oh no!
I
just read this and I thought about how much I missed the show Bullshit.
Right?
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite
They
episodes.
Had a great episode on water.
They have the tap water filled with a plastic spider that is from Brazil and flavored with. Oh, this is a very clean one, and it tastes totally. Yeah, okay.
Sure.
All right, man. Yeah.
It's I mean, I feel that way about wine snobbery, but I have no sense of smell, so I'm not qualified to justify any of that. But I am fairly qualified when it comes to like audio stuff, and the audio snake oil is powerful.
Well, also the incremental gains as you get more and more expensive, they're just not there. It's like going from $20 to $40 is very different from going from $2,000 to $3,000.
Well,
for
exactly, and also, like, it is true that some of those people have amazing palates.
Oh, that's
true.
You
don't. Yeah. But you don't, right?
Nope.
So you're not gonna know the difference. You won't be able to physically taste the difference.
Yeah.
It's wasted on you.
Like, we could give poop water to Rob Malden and be fine.
Yeah, and he would never know. In fact,
super poop.
Right.
Is it cloudy?
Poop. Nope. It's crystal clear like Pepsi.
Oh, like Pepsi. Made with pure aspartame, which is definitely totally not carcinogenic.
Yeah, it's a little concerning.
Right? Especially for some of our friends who are Diet Coke super addicts.
I can't imagine who you would be talking about.
You're right about that. Let's see. Well,
You're welcome to try to give me a heads up on that.
I see what you did there. So this is a weird one too. This is the contract over the thumbs up emoji.
Yeah. Actually, really, this is a very interesting
This is an interesting story.
It is, yeah.
Rob, was this one yours?
Yeah, so basically it's just, it's a dispute with a farmer and a buyer. He was going to get flax at $17 a bushel. They've done contracts before many times. And instead of saying yep or yes or I agree, when he said this is the price, this is how much I want, the guy sent a thumbs up emoji. And then he didn't deliver. And when they came time to deliver, the price had jumped up $30 a bushel. It had come to like 40 something from 17 or 14, I can't remember. So he's saying we have a contract, and the guy's like, I never said yes, I gave you a thumbs up, and that's not yes. So it gets into the idea of what exactly a signature is, I guess, partly because this comes up all the time. I think when you go to the store and you have to sign anything on those pads that make everything completely illegible.
Yeah.
So that no one could ever see what your signature is. It's the same thing when you sign the back of your credit card and they try to compare it. I mean, like it's ridiculous. None
Yeah.
of that stuff is.
I put my squiggle here.
Yeah, no one can tell the difference of those things. So, but that's legally binding for that. That's fine for that. So it is interesting to. I don't know what the correct answer. My gut tells me you would have to say yes, but I mean, thumbs up seems like a pretty commonly understood form of communication, right? Like people know what emojis are,
right?
So,
and then like, so, you know, if you got an iPhone, you got the thing where you can like do the long press and then add a thumbs up directly, like as a reply to the text. Like there's a lot of subtle versions of this that in communication between two people would be, that's confirmation. I've always thought it's weird when you get to the end of the document that you have to sign and they're like, type your name exactly as it is. And that's good enough. Like, I know how to spell my name, so that makes this legally binding. We live in a weird world.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rob, we've talked about this many times in the past, and I'm a little bit bummed that people are taking advantage of our ideas without giving us a cut.
Did someone steal an idea right out of our heads?
Right out of a boat discussion. People
see, that's why I started recording some of the conversations.
Yeah,
because legitimately we've had at least a half dozen different ideas that were like, oh, that would be really funny, that'd be really good, and then they show up again.
Yep.
Like in a TV show or a series or a book or whatever, you know.
Yep, this is the Smash Rooms.
Yes. We had a very lengthy discussion about this 3 years ago.
We've talked about this. We've been talking about this for probably 15 years.
Yeah, but we got really serious about actually looking for a space to do it and how you would do it.
We talked about prices, like how to get them the stuff to smash.
Yep. But this is, you know.
I also see it as like, okay, your axe throwing thing is now tapering off. You can't transition back to Froyo or Yeros, you know. So what are you gonna do? Okay, escape room. Oh nope, that's done. Okay, Smash Rooms.
You know. Yeah, but our escape room would have been different.
Yeah.
You would have had to like you would have had to get a thumbs up emoji before we let you in. So yeah, there's this article actually references Office Space, but given that it's the Washington Post, I did think that it's very funny that one of the things that they point out is that smashing printers is probably unhealthy because there's like chemicals and stuff in there.
Yeah, don't forget the chemicals.
Yep. So
I like HP, the largest printer maker by shipments, declined to comment. I'm like, that's nice that you reached out.
Yeah, they want you to buy more of their toner.
Yeah, for sure.
The printer industry, man, that's another one that really got ruined. Like we got to the point now where it's cheaper to buy a new printer than to buy toner half the time. We truly do live in the darkest timeline, gentlemen. So the last one that I had on the list was just one that I wanted to mention. I don't know if you guys have seen anything about MyHouse.wad. It's the story that's the horror game of the year as a Doom 2 mod. I can dig up for you, but you should Google or YouTube's and find somebody who you like and watch them play MyHouse.wad. Because you guys kind of know the rules of Doom. And this is an extensively modded Doom map that really kind of cheats the rules of Doom. You know how Doom, you can't go above or below anything, right? Like all the maps exist on a single plane and they fake all of the elevation. Well, this is basically a haunted house slash really weird story. I've watched now like 5 different videos of people playing through it and like doing deep dive technical analysis, showing you the Doom hackery to actually make this this map work. But it's this creepy story. You go into rooms and then things are appearing and disappearing, and it's kind of like a haunted house, but it has this like mythology wrapped around it because the guy who created it was like a poster in like the Doom modding forums like 15-20 years ago. He disappeared and came back, asked some questions, but then like the way he rolled this map out is weird, and the map itself is like kind of like stepping you through techniques that the modding community like developed over decades of creating custom Doom maps. It's it's really cool. You should take some time and find somebody that you're interested in. John Romero does a playthrough of it that I watched. His isn't even that good because he's not super into the horror aspect of it. But there's like this haunting story sort of wrapped through it, but all while demonstrating these weird modding techniques. It's really worth going down a little bit of a rabbit hole with this one. I tops recommendations from me. I didn't play it. I don't think that's really what I needed to do personally. But it's the meta stuff around this. It's worth it.
Okay.
It is. Let's see. Did Rob? Did
Yeah, I
you get
downloaded it. I don't have it ready by any chance.
Rob, did you ever get to watch Guardians 3?
No,
Man, you had a fun weekend.
I did.
There's some good things about Guardians 3.
No, I mean you were too busy to watch Guardians 3, so I figure you had a more fun weekend.
No.
Bummer.
I just hadn't seen Guardians 3 because where I would see that was down all weekend.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Well,
John Romero plays MyHouse.wad.
There you go. Once you watch one video of somebody playing MyHouse.wad, you will see many people. Could you throw it up on the screen? I'll get that as a screenshot so we can. There we go. Now I have a thumbnail. It's a weird ass story, and as far as I can tell, the guy made the original map when he was a kid, and then came back to it, 15 years later. And like the map just continuously transforms and evolves. It's really freaking cool.
Cool.
Is there any media? Oh, I don't know why, but Mission Impossible came out like today.
What day is today?
Today's a Tuesday.
That seems weird. Doesn't that seem weird?
Normally movies don't come out. The only thing I could think of is because I had read that because Oppenheimer is coming out in like 2 weeks.
Did you see that? Here, go
on. So because Oppenheimer was coming out, Oppenheimer was going to get all the IMAX theaters. So the only thing I could think of was that maybe they decided to open it like 4 days early so that they could get 4 extra days of Oppenheimer or of IMAX time. I honestly don't know. Oh yeah, AMC is selling Barbenheimer double feature tickets.
Yeah, for Barbie and Oppenheimer, because they go together like peas and carrots, you know.
The discussion that I thought was the funniest about this is if you're gonna watch Barbie and Oppenheimer in the same day, what's the order? Which one should you watch first?
Yeah,
And
I mean, are you going to get Barbie if you haven't seen Oppenheimer?
yeah. But my favorite one was,
Or
you know,
vice
do you
versa.
do Barbenheimer Oppenheimer or Barbie Oppenheimer or Oppenheimer Barbie? And then the discussion was the only answer to this is you actually have to do Barbie Oppenheimer Barbie and make like a Barbie
palate
Oppenheimer
cleanser.
sandwich.
Yeah, sure.
I will definitely be seeing both of those movies at some point. Although
Threads, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Barbie, the day after.
wow, what about Mission Impossible?
Nah, well, there's only so many hours in a day. Okay.
All right, I'm willing to spend all of them in a movie theater.
Did you see Dial of Destiny?
I did. We talked about it.
Oh, that's how much I remember it.
You should pay more attention to my exciting words.
I probably should.
I do pay attention to your exciting words.
Oh, nicely done, sir. I feel appropriately dissed. I feel appropriately dissed. You don't even remember what episode number this is.
9 billion and 7, whatever.
It's like 700 and something.
We're coming up on 800, guys. What are we gonna do to celebrate 800?
8 trillion billion.
Do we have anything else we needed to do? Any good media? I'm still watching Silo, Chris, and I am all in on Silo. I am loving
that's
Silo.
Cool. I'm really glad to hear that.
I'm 5 episodes in, halfway. I'm at the halfway mark on the season.
I feel like we should do that YouTuber thing. You know, I'm going to be at Open Source Live as an attendee. You know, I'm friends with the people who created it, and it's really exciting and going to be super fun. They added a whole bunch of new creators.
I wanted to go to Open Source. That's one of the few I wanted to go to.
It's going to be a blast, and I have to tell you, it's in some ways I'm just so excited because let me find here's the schedule. I have to admit, I really one of the things when I met the organizers, I was like, I have to tell you, I get nervous whenever you guys don't wear shoes while you're grinding or welding.
Yeah, you're talking about like the I did a thing guy.
Yeah, exactly. Oof. So they have a thing here which is dangerous people. People who should be more careful, like Electro Boom always getting electrocuted and all that. And then there's one up here, smart people, and then dumb people.
Dumb people. I hate to say I kind of like the dumb people more than the smart people, but they're more fun to watch.
Yeah, so
the smart people do cooler things, but the dumb people are kind of more fun to watch.
I'm gonna skip the lead poisoning spectacular, but yeah, so funny stuff.
That is cool. If I lived on the West Coast, I definitely would go. But
I'm really looking forward to this. I have to tell you,
so, that's fun. You can be our Geeks in Space man on the floor. Oh, you got your little gimbal camera.
I'm in a shotgun shack on the other side of the world.
You got your gimbal camera, so you can like get sweet interviews.
Sweet.
Get all of them to like say our catchphrases.
Yes, like and subscribe.
Like and smash that like button.
Don't forget to geek your space and space your. We don't have
catchphrases.
Yeah.
We should work on that. Can we schedule a meeting to work on catchphrases?
Maybe the next cast we just have a little segment where we read off our catchphrases.
All right, there you go.
Fight for why they're good.
It always stuff like Rob can't smell.
That's right. Right. We're gonna need the guys in the Discord channel to come up with catchphrases for us. That's your homework.
Ambaloo.
Yeah.
The
guy. All right.
Over talking each other for decades.
That's right.
Geeks in Space.
That's right. All right. Do we have anything else we need to get off our chests? That awkward silence.
Not to the world, no.
All right. Well, let's say goodbye to the world, and then you can tell us our secrets. Goodbye, Chris DeBona.
See ya.
Goodbye, Rob Roseboom.
Goodbye.
That was episode 798 of Geeks in Space. If you're paying attention, I was Rob Vander Taco Malda. We will see you whenever we manage to connect again. Bye.